In today's video, we'll reveal the rare quarters every collector dreams of finding, the key details to look for, and why some have sold for life-changing fortunes. Make sure you watch until the end. You might already own one of these incredible treasures. What if I told you that a single quarter sitting in your pocket, your car's cup holder, or that forgotten jar in your kitchen could be worth far more than a brand new luxury home? Most people spend a 2005 California state quarter without giving it a second thought. They use it to buy coffee, pay for parking, or feed a vending machine. Collectors, however, know that a tiny number of these ordinary-looking coins have become legendary because of extraordinary minting mistakes. While millions of California quarters were produced, only a handful with dramatic and authenticated mint errors have captured the attention of elite collectors. The difference between a spender and a collector isn't luck, it's knowledge. Before you spend another quarter, take a closer look. You might unknowingly be holding one of the most fascinating modern error coins ever discovered. The 2005 California State Quarter was released as part of the popular 50 State Quarters program, one of the most successful coin series in American history. The reverse design celebrates California's rich heritage, featuring naturalist John Muir admiring Yosemite Valley with the towering granite face of Half Dome in the background and a soaring California condor overhead. Hundreds of millions of these quarters entered circulation from the Philadelphia and Denver mints, making normal examples worth only 25 cents. Yet hidden among those massive production numbers are a few remarkable error coins that have transformed an everyday quarter into a collector's dream. This is where the story becomes truly fascinating. During the high-speed minting process, every coin must pass through multiple precision stages. A tiny mechanical failure, an improperly prepared planchet, a damaged die, or even a slight misalignment can permanently alter a coin. These accidents happen in fractions of a second, yet they can create collectibles that survive for generations. Ironically, what the mint considers a manufacturing defect is exactly what serious collectors are searching for. Now here's something you should do right now. Pause for just a moment and think about where you keep your spare change. Is there a coin jar in your kitchen? A drawer filled with loose quarters? Maybe a forgotten piggy bank in the garage? It takes less than 5 minutes to check, and those 5 minutes could potentially uncover a remarkable discovery. Most valuable coins aren't found in museums. They're often found in places people stopped looking years ago. One of the most desirable errors on the 2005 California quarter is a dramatic off-center strike. This happens when the blank planchet is not perfectly positioned between the dies during the strike. The result is a coin with part of its design missing while still showing enough of the date and mint mark for collectors to identify it. Significant off-center strikes, especially those ranging from 30 to 60% off-center, are highly sought after because every example is unique. No two off-center errors are exactly alike, making them miniature works of accidental art. Another fascinating variety involves broad strike errors. In these cases, the retaining collar that normally gives the coin its final shape fails to function correctly. Without that collar, the metal spreads beyond its normal diameter during striking. The finished coin appears wider, flatter, and noticeably different from an ordinary quarter. While broad strikes are uncommon across all denominations, they become especially desirable when they occur on popular state quarters because of the enormous collector base already following the series. Collectors also pay close attention to dramatic die cracks and retained cuds. Over time, the immense pressure used during coin production causes dies to develop fractures. These cracks eventually appear as raised lines across the finished coin. In more advanced stages, pieces of the die can actually break away, creating large raised blobs of metal called cuds. A California quarter displaying a major cud in a visually prominent location can become an impressive conversation piece and attract significant collector interest. Perhaps even more exciting are double-struck errors. Imagine a quarter receiving one strike, failing to eject correctly, and then being struck again while misaligned. The overlapping images create an unmistakable appearance that immediately catches the attention of experienced collectors. Genuine double strikes are among the most dramatic mint errors because they clearly demonstrate a rare mechanical failure inside the coining press. Now let me ask you a question. If you found two identical-looking quarters, would you know which one could buy dinner and which one might be worth thousands of dollars? Most people wouldn't. That's exactly why these coins continue slipping through circulation unnoticed. Hidden treasure doesn't always shine brighter than ordinary money. Sometimes it simply requires educated eyes. Another important error involves clipped planchets. Before striking, coin blanks are punched from long metal sheets. Occasionally, the punching process overlaps an already cut area, leaving a curved section missing from the blank. When struck, the finished quarter displays a smooth crescent-shaped clip along its edge. Authentic clipped planchet errors show distinctive characteristics that grading experts use to verify their legitimacy. Because they originate during the blanking process, they are recognized as genuine mint errors rather than post-mint damage. Some of the rarest California quarters also exhibit multiple errors combined on the same coin. Imagine an off-center strike paired with a clipped planchet or a dramatic die crack appearing alongside a partial collar strike. Multi-error coins are exceptionally scarce because several independent production failures must occur during the same manufacturing sequence. When such coins appear at major auctions, advanced collectors compete aggressively to add them to specialized error collections. This brings us to one of the biggest misconceptions in modern coin collecting. Many online stories claim that every California quarter is worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. That simply isn't true. The overwhelming majority remain worth only face value or a modest premium in uncirculated condition. What creates extraordinary value is an authentic, significant mint error, outstanding preservation, rarity, collector demand, and professional certification from respected grading services. Those factors together determine whether a coin becomes truly exceptional. Now let's talk about the headline numbers that capture everyone's attention. Reports occasionally circulate claiming that spectacular modern error coins have achieved values approaching $923,000. Such figures represent extremely rare, one-of-a-kind circumstances involving extraordinary mint errors, elite grade preservation, intense bidding competition, and impeccable authentication. They are not typical prices for ordinary California state quarters. Still, the existence of remarkable auction results reminds collectors that the market consistently rewards genuine rarity when exceptional examples appear. The modern coin market has changed dramatically over the past decade. More collectors are searching through circulation than ever before. Online auctions connect buyers across the country within seconds. Registry-set competitions encourage collectors to pursue the finest known examples, often pushing prices far beyond previous expectations. When an unusual California quarter enters the market with undeniable authenticity and eye-catching characteristics, competition can become surprisingly intense. Here's another attention check. If you have loose quarters nearby, don't wait until tomorrow. Check the date. Look for 2005. Then examine both sides carefully under bright light. Rotate the coin slowly. Look for missing design elements, unusual doubling, dramatic raised lines, clipped edges, off-center strikes, or anything that appears significantly different from an ordinary example. You don't need expensive equipment to notice major mint errors. Sometimes curiosity is the most valuable tool a collector owns. Patience is another secret shared by successful numismatists. They understand that valuable discoveries rarely happen overnight. Many famous error coins spent years in circulation before someone recognized their importance. Some were discovered in bank rolls, others in inherited collections, and many inside forgotten jars of change. Every remarkable find begins with someone deciding to look instead of assuming every coin is ordinary. Professional authentication is absolutely essential. If you believe you've discovered a significant error coin, avoid cleaning or polishing it. Even gentle cleaning can permanently reduce collector value. Instead, store the coin carefully and consider submitting it to a respected third-party grading service for evaluation. Professional authentication provides confidence to buyers and often plays a major role in determining final market value. The story of the 2005 California quarter reminds us that extraordinary opportunities sometimes hide in everyday places. Millions of people handle quarters every single day without ever looking closely. Collectors see something different. They see history, craftsmanship, mechanical precision, and occasionally, an extraordinary mistake that transforms common pocket change into a prized collectible. Knowledge separates those who unknowingly spend history from those who preserve it. Imagine discovering that the quarter sitting unnoticed in your drawer has a spectacular mint error recognized by experts nationwide. Imagine watching collectors compete for the chance to own it. While such discoveries are undeniably rare, they continue to fuel the excitement that has attracted generations of Americans to coin collecting. Every search carries the possibility, however small, of uncovering something remarkable. So before you spend another quarter, remember this story. The next coin passing through your hands may simply be worth 25 cents, or it could become the discovery that changes the way you look at money forever. Stay curious, keep learning, and never underestimate what might be hiding in plain sight. And if you think the California quarter is impressive, wait until you see the next episode, where we'll uncover another ultra-rare American coin with a legendary mint error that has stunned collectors and sparked bidding wars across the country. You won't want to miss what's coming next. What if I told you that a single 1999 Georgia quarter could be worth more than a luxury mansion, a collection of exotic cars, or even enough money to completely change someone's financial future? It sounds impossible, but extraordinary discoveries have happened before in the world of rare coins. While millions of Americans spend quarters every day without a second thought, experienced collectors understand a powerful truth. Sometimes the smallest pieces of pocket change hide the biggest opportunities. The difference between a spender and a collector is simple. One person sees 25 cents. The other sees a potential treasure. And today, we're uncovering one of the most talked about modern quarters that continues to fascinate collectors across the country. Before you dismiss that jar of change sitting in your kitchen, your dresser, or your garage, remember this. Someone somewhere may have already spent a coin worth far more than they ever imagined. Don't let that person be you. The 1999 Georgia State Quarter holds a special place in American numismatic history. Released as part of the famous 50 State Quarters program, it celebrated Georgia's rich heritage with a beautiful design featuring the state outline, a peach, branches of live oak, and the state motto, wisdom, justice, moderation. Hundreds of millions were struck, making ordinary examples extremely common. But hidden among those countless coins are a handful of extraordinary pieces that have become legends within the collecting community. These are not ordinary quarters. They are minting mistakes, production anomalies, and incredibly rare error coins that can transform an everyday coin into a collector's dream. Here's where the story becomes truly fascinating. During the high-speed minting process, thousands of coin blanks moved through powerful presses every hour. Even with strict quality control, tiny mistakes occasionally slip through. Those mistakes are exactly what serious collectors spend years searching for. While the average person never notices these details, trained eyes immediately recognize that certain errors can multiply a coin's value hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of times. But here's something you should do right now. Pause for just a moment and think about where your loose change is. Maybe it's sitting in your car's cup holder. Maybe it's inside an old coffee can. Maybe it's hidden in a forgotten drawer. If you have any 1999 Georgia quarters, keep listening because the details you're about to learn could completely change how you look at them. One of the most valuable characteristics involves dramatic off-center strikes. This happens when the blank planchet is not perfectly aligned inside the coining press before being struck. Instead of displaying a perfectly centered design, part of the image is missing while another portion of the blank remains empty. Minor off-center strikes are collectible, but dramatic examples that still show the date can become incredibly desirable. Collectors appreciate these coins because every off-center strike is unique, creating a one-of-a-kind collectible that can never be duplicated. Another remarkable error is the broad strike. Without the retaining collar holding the coin in place during striking, the metal spreads outward, producing a quarter that appears wider than normal while missing its raised edge. To an untrained eye, it may simply look unusual. To an experienced collector, it represents an important minting error that deserves closer examination. Now here's a question very few people ever ask themselves. Have you ever compared one quarter to another under bright light? Most people never do. Yet that simple habit has led to some incredible discoveries. Sometimes the difference between a common coin and a highly valuable error can be seen with nothing more than careful observation. Among the most exciting discoveries are double die varieties. Unlike damage that happens after the coin leaves the mint, a double die originates during die production itself. This creates noticeable doubling on certain letters, numbers, or design elements. Under magnification, the separation becomes much easier to identify. Strong examples are especially prized because they represent a genuine mint variety rather than accidental wear or circulation damage. Collectors also search for die cracks and retained die breaks. As steel dies age under enormous pressure, tiny fractures begin forming across their surfaces. Those cracks transfer onto every coin struck afterward, creating raised lines that appear almost like tiny rivers flowing across the design. In rare situations, larger die breaks create dramatic raised metal formations that become famous among error specialists. These unusual features transform an otherwise ordinary quarter into an exciting conversation piece with substantial collector interest. Even more fascinating are struck-through errors. During production, a small piece of debris, cloth, grease, or another foreign material sometimes becomes trapped between the die and the planchet. When the press strikes the coin, the obstruction prevents part of the design from transferring correctly. The result is an unusual missing area or distorted impression unlike anything found on normal coins. Every struck-through error tells its own story about what happened inside the mint at that exact moment. Now let me ask you something. How many quarters have passed through your hands over the last 20 years? Hundreds? Thousands? Maybe even tens of thousands? Imagine if just one of those coins carried an extraordinary mint error that you never noticed. That's exactly why experienced collectors examine every unusual coin instead of spending it without a second glance. Condition is another factor that separates ordinary coins from exceptional ones. A flawless example preserved from the day it left the mint commands dramatically higher prices than one that circulated for decades. Coins graded mint state 67, 68, or higher become increasingly scarce because almost every coin experiences tiny scratches, bag marks, or wear during handling. The higher the grade, the fewer surviving examples exist, and rarity always attracts serious collectors. Professional grading also plays a major role in determining value. Authentication by respected grading services gives buyers confidence that a coin is genuine, accurately graded, and properly identified. This confidence often translates into stronger bidding whenever exceptional examples appear at major auctions. Now let's address the number that captures everyone's attention. You may have seen headlines claiming certain 1999 Georgia quarter error coins could reach values approaching $756,000. It's important to understand what drives figures like this. Such extraordinary prices are not for ordinary circulating quarters. They would require an exceptionally rare combination of factors: an extraordinary mint error, nearly perfect preservation, remarkable eye appeal, verified authenticity, and intense competition among elite collectors. These situations are extraordinarily uncommon. What if I told you that an ordinary-looking 2000 South Carolina quarter sitting in a forgotten coin jar could be worth far more than a luxury mansion? Most people spend these quarters without giving them a second glance. They buy coffee, pay for parking, or leave them in a tip jar. Collectors, however, know that a tiny number of these coins may carry rare minting errors capable of transforming an ordinary 25-cent piece into one of the most talked-about discoveries in modern coin collecting. The difference between a spender and a collector isn't luck. It's knowledge. Before you spend another quarter, you may want to take a closer look, because the next coin you overlook could become the biggest financial mistake you've ever made. The 2000 South Carolina State Quarter was released as part of the famous 50 State Quarters program, one of the most successful coin programs in American history. Millions of Americans began checking their pocket change, filling albums, and learning about rare varieties for the very first time. The South Carolina design proudly features the Carolina wren, yellow jessamine, and the majestic palmetto tree, symbols representing the state's rich history and natural beauty. Hundreds of millions of these quarters entered circulation, making them appear incredibly common. Yet experienced collectors understand an important truth. Sometimes the rarest treasures are hidden among the most ordinary-looking coins. Here's where things become fascinating. While the vast majority of 2000 South Carolina quarters are worth only face value, a microscopic percentage escaped the mint with extraordinary production mistakes. Those mistakes weren't supposed to happen. They slipped through quality control and quietly entered circulation, creating modern rarities that continue to excite collectors decades later. But stop for just a moment. Before you continue listening, think about this. Do you have a coin jar sitting somewhere in your house? Maybe there's one in your kitchen drawer, your vehicle's cup holder, or an old piggy bank collecting dust in the closet. Thousands of people have ignored those forgotten coins for years. What if one of them contains a valuable mint error hiding in plain sight? Let's begin with one of the most desirable errors collectors search for: the dramatic off-center strike. During the minting process, a blank planchet must be perfectly aligned before the dies strike the design. Occasionally, that alignment fails. When it does, part of the design is missing while the remaining design appears shifted dramatically toward one edge. A genuine off-center strike showing a clear date and mint mark can become highly collectible. The more dramatic the error while still preserving the coin's identity, the greater the collector demand. Another remarkable variety involves broad strikes. These occur when the retaining collar fails to hold the planchet securely during striking. Without that collar, the metal expands outward under enormous pressure, producing a coin with an unusually wide appearance and no raised rim. Collectors immediately recognize these distinctive pieces because they look completely different from normal quarters. Then there are double strikes. Imagine a coin receiving one strike, shifting position, and then being struck again. The result can create overlapping images, duplicated lettering, and distorted design elements that are impossible to ignore. Strong examples remain among the most visually impressive mint errors ever discovered on modern quarters. Now here's something many beginners overlook. Die cracks and retained die breaks can also command impressive premiums. As minting dies age, enormous striking pressure eventually causes tiny fractures to develop. Those fractures transfer raised lines onto every coin produced afterward. While small cracks are relatively common, large and dramatic die breaks become highly collectible because they document the gradual failure of the minting equipment itself. One of the most exciting discoveries involves struck-through errors. During production, foreign material such as grease or debris may accidentally come between the die and the planchet. Instead of producing a perfect design, portions of the image appear weak, missing, or unusually textured. Every struck-through error tells its own unique story because no two production accidents occur exactly the same way. Now ask yourself another question. If these mistakes were accidents, how many actually survived? The answer is surprisingly few. Most defective coins are caught during quality inspection and destroyed before ever leaving the mint. The handful that escape become accidental collectibles, creating intense competition whenever exceptional examples appear for sale. There's another factor driving excitement surrounding certain 2000 South Carolina quarters: condition. Even a rare error coin can lose significant value if heavily worn. Collectors pursuing registry quality sets demand examples displaying razor-sharp details, brilliant mint luster, and minimal contact marks. Professional grading services carefully examine every surface under magnification, assigning numerical grades that can dramatically influence market value. Here's where many collectors make an expensive mistake. They clean their coins. It sounds logical. After all, shiny coins look better, right? Unfortunately, cleaning often destroys original surfaces forever. A rare coin with original mint luster is almost always worth substantially more than one that's been polished or scrubbed. Sometimes a few seconds of cleaning can erase thousands of dollars in collectible value. Let's pause again. If you're holding an old quarter right now, resist the temptation to wipe it with a cloth. Simply place it in a protective holder until you know exactly what you have. That small decision alone could preserve a future collectible. The market for elite mint errors has evolved dramatically over the past decade. As more collectors enter the hobby and online auctions connect buyers across the country, competition for spectacular error coins continues to intensify. Exceptional examples no longer remain local discoveries. They attract nationwide and sometimes international bidding wars. When discussing extraordinary values, it's important to understand what creates headline-grabbing prices. A standard circulated 2000 South Carolina quarter is not worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. However, a truly extraordinary specimen combining an extremely rare mint error, exceptional preservation, strong eye appeal, documented authenticity, and intense collector demand can enter an entirely different category of value. These are the coins advanced collectors dream about finding. Some market discussions have suggested that an extraordinary, one-of-a-kind example with an exceptional combination of rare characteristics could potentially approach values as high as $909,000 under ideal circumstances if intense competitive bidding, elite condition, and unique error features aligned perfectly. Such outcomes would represent extraordinary exceptions rather than normal market prices, making authentication and professional evaluation absolutely essential before assuming any coin has reached that level. This is exactly why experienced collectors never judge a coin based on internet rumors alone. They examine every detail. They study the strike quality, inspect the edges, verify the weight, compare diagnostics, and seek professional certification whenever an unusual feature appears. Knowledge protects collectors from both costly mistakes and missed opportunities. Think about the irony for a moment. The average person sees 25 cents. A knowledgeable numismatist sees history, manufacturing science, rarity, collector psychology, and potentially significant value. That's why education consistently outperforms luck in the world of coin collecting. The South Carolina quarter also carries historical significance beyond its collectible appeal. As one of the earliest state quarters released, it represents an era that introduced millions of Americans to modern numismatics. Entire families searched through pocket change together, creating memories while unknowingly learning how rarity develops within everyday currency. Today's collectors continue that tradition, but the hunt has become even more exciting because many surviving examples have already disappeared into permanent collections. Every year, fewer remarkable specimens remain available on the open market. That shrinking supply naturally increases attention whenever a newly discovered high-grade error coin surfaces. So here's your challenge. After this video ends, don't scroll away immediately. Spend just 10 minutes checking your change. Look through your coin jars. Search your vehicle. Open that forgotten drawer you've ignored for years. You probably won't find a six-figure rarity today, but every legendary discovery started with someone taking a closer look at what everyone else ignored. Remember, every valuable coin was once ordinary pocket change. Every famous discovery spent time in circulation before someone recognized its importance. And every serious collector began with a single coin that sparked curiosity. The next time someone hands you a quarter in change, don't automatically spend it. Turn it over. Examine the design. Check the date. Look closely for unusual doubling, striking errors, off-center designs, broad strikes, die cracks, missing details, or anything that appears different from an ordinary coin. That simple habit could completely change the way you see everyday money. The hunt for hidden treasure isn't limited to pirate ships or buried chests. Sometimes it begins with 25 cents resting quietly in your pocket, waiting for someone observant enough to notice what millions of others missed. And here's one final thought before you go. If the 2000 South Carolina quarter